had a vision problem, but it was connected to my high blood sugar, which we're working to keep down.
Hmm.
Oh, wait, this meeting is being recorded live stream. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
in that case, we'll better record.
Unless you
Oh
want to give
yeah,
it a minute.
it's already. Well, no, how many? What who we got on so far? We got Norman, and we've got Bubba C.
And
We
we
have
have Eleanor, and we have cute little baby boy Prince. Uh, uh, oh my goodness.
uh right,
We
and Eleanor and all sorts of things. Yeah.
yeah,
So anyway,
Louis. We have Louis.
right, cute little baby boy, king princess.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hey Louis, did you mean
Anyway, yeah.
princess?
So we're quarate. We are quarate. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, an assembled company, welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe. And tonight, or today, or this afternoon, or wherever you are in this big wide world, it's a very special day in Canada. The whole of Canada is, and probably the whole of North America. In fact, the whole of the Americas are celebrating Norman Perrin's birthday. And we'll start by singing Happy Birthday to you. Are we ready? All unmute. We will make such a noise on with as it all comes up on different things. But I'm going to start. 1, 2, 3. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday, dear
birthday,
Norman.
Norman. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday to
to
you. And
you.
without further ado, um, I'm going to introduce the man himself. Our storyteller for tonight, today is none other than Norman Perrin himself. Now, I am sitting in a motorway service station with a rapidly running out battery, so on this phone. So, if I disappear halfway through, um, I'm going to mention what's happening next week, which is this program will be at 7:30, an hour and a half later. We're doing a special from Marrakesh,
Oh.
and it's got Zhu Hair, um, Emir Burke, and someone else my memory cells have gone. But if someone can look up on the site and announce it at the end, that'd be fantastic. That's at 7:30 next Friday. But without any further, we go over to you, Norman, and I probably leave halfway through this because the battery dying.
Well, as long as it's just the battery.
Yes.
Yes. Well, it's wonderful to be here. And when uh, Kieran said that I could have this date for my birthday because it's happened, the Friday fell on my birthday. And I said, please. So wouldn't it be nice? Next thing I know is, well, Norman, you can tell the stories on the Friday. So, oh, that's wonderful, amazing, incredible. What are the stories I'm going to tell? That sort of thing. So I started to think and think and think and think and think and think. And if I weren't to use up the time, I could just say keep on thinking. But I said, well, why not? I like stories. I wouldn't be here without having connected to stories. Louis, I knew you loved stories, so in a way, this is my birthday gift to myself, but also to anyone who liked stories. Now, so the first one, of course, which is the first story, and the story that came to mind was the king who loves stories. So this story I got from Duncan Williamson. Duncan told it at a time when I can't even remember just when or how. And when I told it in presence of my friend Harriet, she said, "Yeah, I know that story, but you got it wrong." Now, so Well, dear me, this is the way it came to me. This is the way it stayed with me. But before I say that, I was also another young child who loved stories like I did. And that was a little boy who would go down to the village fire. And it was every night. The men would gather, the young boy would sit by the men, and the men would talk a bit about this story, that, what was the news, what was going on, what was the gossip until one of them got the idea, oh, that reminds me of a story. And so he would tell a story. And the young boy loved, loved those stories. He couldn't wait to get another story and another story and another story. So this evening, when he came up to the fire, the men were gathered there, but things seemed slightly different because they weren't gossiping. They were sitting there looking at each other. When the young boy sat beside the fire, they all looked at him. And why did they all look at him? And because, well, why aren't you telling me a story? And the oldest of them said, it is time for you to tell a story. You've been listening to stories over and over again, and now it is your turn to feed a story to the fire. But the boy says, I don't know how to tell a story, and I don't know how to read. All the better, said the oldest among them. Those who get their stories from books do not get to the heart of the story. They do not get to the fire of the story. No, we keep our stories in our hearts, and those stories keep our traditions alive. So you must tell a story. Well, what if I forget? Well, if you forget, said the old man, add a little bit, take a little bit. But I don't know how to tell a story. Enough, said the old man. You have been sitting here telling tales, and now you must join the circle of those who share the stories, for stories do not live unless they are out in the great wide world. So, you sit down, and you tell a story. But how do stories begin? Well, the same way, said the old man. Once there was not, and once there was again. And so begin. And the young boy began to tell a story. Once there was not, and once there was again. And he told his very first story. Once there was a far-off land where the animals were having a hard time. Rain had not fallen for many, many months. And so they went from place to place looking for food. But all the trees, all the grasses, all the vegetables had dried up. Until at last the animals gathered around a tree. A tree that was a very special tree. It was the tree that had everything growing on it, red like cherries and orange like oranges and yellows by like bananas, but they grew so high, and because none of the animals could reach it, not even the giraffe. And they looked at all the fruit, yellow like bananas, orange like oranges, red like cherries. And how to reach the fruit? And the old turtle came up and said, my grandmother told me stories about this tree, and it would give us food at times like this. But only if you knew the name of the tree could you get the fruit from the tree. My great-great-great-grandmother remembered that, but she could not remember the name of the tree. And another says, what? Oh, there is one animal that knows the name of the tree. That is the animal, that's the Oh my God, it's a lion. Volunteers to go and ask the lion for the name of the trees. And at this point, all of the animals fell silent. Nobody wanted to go and ask the lion for the name of the tree. Until at last, the deer said, okay, then I will go because I am the swiftest of all of the animals. I'll go into the mountains. I will go up into the valleys, and I will go to the cave of the great lion, and I will ask for the name of the tree. And so the deer began to run across the flat plain. She ran and ran and ran and ran. I'm the fastest of the animals, and I will bring back the name of the tree. And ran and ran and ran and ran, and he came to the mountains, and he kept on running and up into the mountains until at last it came to a cave. And there the deer stopped, because this was the cave of the lion. And he said, for the longest time, this deer said nothing. But then a great growly voice came from the cave and said, who is there and what are you here for? And the deer said, oh, well, speak up, said the lion. I was having a nap. What do you want? All the animals are hungry and we need food. Well, what's that to me? Said the lion. Well, there's a tree. Yes, I know about the tree. Get on with it, said the lion. He says, well, if we get the name of the tree, then we will be able to get the food from the tree. The fruit that's yellow like bananas and red like cherries and orange like oranges. Will you give us the name of the tree? Of course, said the lion, I can do that. But I don't want to be disturbed. And so I will give you the name of the tree. But don't forget it. If you forget the name of the tree, if you come back and disturb me, I cannot. You may have the fruit for food, but you will be my food. And so the deer said, well, I won't forget the name of the tree. And so the lion said, well, then the name of the tree is Ngali. Ngali. The name of the tree is Ngali. Don't forget it. Okay, thank you. Thank you, lion, said the deer. Thank you for giving us the name of the tree is Ngali. And so the deer started to go down the mountain, saying, the name of the tree is Ngali. Down the mountain it went. The name of the tree is Ngali. Walking among the rocks very carefully. The name of the tree is Ngali. Across the plains, the name of the tree is Ngali. And then as the deer was thinking so hard about the name of the tree, it stepped into into a hole in the middle of the plain, and the deer fell down and went tumbling in the dust. When the deer got up, dusted itself off, it says, let's see, well, I was here to get the name of the tree. The name of the tree is and the deer could not remember the name of the tree. And so the deer went slowly and sadly across the plain, came to the tree where all the animals are gathered. And the animals, when they saw the deer, said, what's the name of the tree? And the deer said, I forgot. And the animals were very disappointed. Well, then somebody must go again. Better not, said the deer. The lion threatened to eat whoever came to disturb it again. Then I will go, said the elephant. I'm pretty big and lion is afraid of me. I have the best memory. I will not forget the name of the tree. And so the great elephant began to start walking. And I know that I should have turned off my
Sound
cell
effects.
phone.
Don't worry about it. Sound effects.
Okay. So he began to walk, saying, the name of the tree I will remember because I am elephant and I never forget. The name of the tree I will remember because I am elephant. And elephants don't forget. And so the elephant went across the plains, into the mountains, up into the mountains, and came to the cave of the lion. And he could hear the lion snoring and purring in its sleep. And the lion heard the sound, said, Who disturbs my sleep? It is I, elephant. And what are you here for? Asked the lion. Says, well, I want the name of the tree. Well, I gave the name of the tree to the deer, said the lion, and I said I would not give it again. Are you not afraid of being eaten? No, said the elephant, but you know all of the animals are hungry. All the animals need food. And if we do not get food, we will die unless we get the name of the tree. So, lion, you are a good creature. You will give us the name of the tree, please? And the lion said, if you're so, since you ask so nicely, I will give you the name of the tree, but I will not do this again. And so I will tell you this once. Do not come back and say, and the name of the tree is Ungali. The name of the tree is Ungali. Thank you, said the elephant. The name of the tree is Ungali. You know, I'm very good at memory. Get on with your way. You've forgotten already, said the lion, that you must get going. And so the elephant began to walk down the mountain. The name of the tree is Ungali. I'm elephant. I got a great memory. It went down the mountain into the plains. The name of the tree is Ungali. Yes, I never forget anything. The name of the tree is Ungali, and came across the plains. And as the elephant was going across the plains saying, the name of the tree is Ungali, what do you think the elephant did? Why, it tripped on that hole. It fell into that hole, and it went, and a cloud of dust that could be seen for miles went up into the sky. And when the cloud of dust disappeared, there was Elephant thinking, what did they come down here for? And, oh, yes, the name of the tree is Tututu. No, Umbasa, no, and you're still trying to remember the name of the tree as he went to where the tall tree was. And there were the animals seeing the elephant. And when they saw the elephants, they called, Elephant! Elephant, did you forget the name of the tree? And Elephant had to say, I forgot. And somebody will have to go and ask the lion again. And none of the animals wanted to go and disturb the lion for a third time. And they all looked at one another until at last the old turtle said, well, I guess I'll have to go. I will ask the lion for the name of the tree. And so the turtle began to walk very slowly, very carefully, and kept on walking. Bring back the name of the tree. The name of the tree I will bring back. I will bring back the name of the tree. I am Tortoise, and I will bring back the name of the tree. And so Tortoise went traveling across the plain, across into the mountains, and up to the cave. And there in the cave he could hear the lion snoring away. And then when Tortoise stopped, he went, ahem, and the lion woke up. He said, who's there? Who disturbs my sleep? It's I, Tortoise, said Tortoise. Well, what are you here for? Well, I'm here for the name of the tree. Look, said the lion, the deer could not remember the name of the tree. The elephant could not name the tree. And I told the elephant, I would not tell the animals the name of the tree again. I would not. You wouldn't tell them at all? No. I told them that I would not say that the name of the tree is Ngali. Oh, said Tortoise. So the name of the tree is not Ngali. Oh, yes, it is, said the lion. I just said I wouldn't say it. And so the tortoise said, well, thank you, lion, that you did not tell us the name of the tree is Ngali. You are a most gracious and kind lion. Well, go away, said the lion. And so the tortoise slowly went down the mountains, saying to itself over and over again, the name of the tree is Ngali. The name of the tree is Ngali. The name of the tree is Ngali. Tortoise went down the mountain. The name of the tree is Ngali. And kept on going. Came to the plains. Name of the tree is Ngali. The name of the tree is Ngali. The name of the tree is Ngali. And Tortoise didn't even look where it was going. It just kept on going, saying over and over and over again, the name of the tree is Ngali. And Tortoise fell into that hole. And then, for a moment, you couldn't hear anything. But in the hole, you could hear faintly, the name of the tree is Ngali. The name of the tree is Ngali. And so Tortoise climbed out of that hole into the sunlight, saying, the name of the tree is Ngali. And so Tortoise went across the plain to where the tall tree was surrounded by all of the animals. The animals saw Tortoise, and when they saw Tortoise, they said, Tortoise, what is the name of the tree? Name of the tree, said Tortoise, is Ngali. And the animals said, the name of the tree is Ngali. The name of the, and a great cheer went out. The name of the tree is Ngali. And that great tree that was covered and with fruits that was yellow like bananas and red like cherries and orange like oranges and many other good things good to eat, bent down until the animals could reach that fruit, and they ate and they ate and they ate until they could not eat anymore. And that tree gave them food and gave them enough to drink until the rains came once again and the forest could fill with food once again. And so they got the name of the tree, but they also got another name, another thing from the tree, the name of the tree. And so to this day, people remember that's the story of the tree. Always remember, said the tortoise. Listen to your grandmothers, and if she can't remember, make sure that she can remember the rest of the story. And so that is the story of how the animals brought the name of the tree to the animals, and the animals brought it to us, and now I've brought it to you, and this is a story to share once more. Thank you. Well, once upon a long time ago was a king who loved stories. And that king had a child and told stories to the child. And the child loved stories too. And every night the child would listen to the king and his mother tell them stories until one day there came a great dragon, and the dragon was devastating the land. And so the king went and with his soldiers and with his spears, and he fought the dragon so that the people would be saved from the great dragon. And so the king did succeed, but unfortunately, the dragon's poisonous breath enveloped the king in a cloud of poison, and the king was killed. And so he he when he did not come back, the queen was sad and sorrowful for a while, and she held her son and said, "My son, your father is gone, and all that there is left of him is the stories. But I will tell you stories. I will tell the stories that he told to you and that he told to me." And so each night, the young boy, when he was tucked into bed, his mother would say, "Time to go to bed, time for a bath, and then time for a story." So the boy would jump into bed, pull the blankets up, and the young woman and the young queen would tell the young boy a story. And this is the way time went on until one night the young boy said, "Mother, I want to hear a story tonight." "No," said the mother, "this is not a night for a story." "Why not?" "Because it's time for me to tell you of who you will be," said the young boy, said the young queen. "The time when you will be king." "King? Why should I become a king?" said the young boy. "Because I am the queen, and when the time comes, you will become the king over this great land." So, but the boy says, do kings get to hear stories?" "Oh, yes," said the queen. "Kings get to hear stories. In fact, sometimes they hear more stories than they care to listen to. But you will hear storytellers from all over, from far and wide, from stories from the high in the hills and far in the mountains. You will hear stories about lions and the name of the tree. There are many stories for a king to listen to." And so the boy says, "Mother, I'm glad that kings can hear stories. Please, 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 please tell me a story." And so the mother says, "Of course, yes." And she told him a story. And so time passed, and in time, the queen passed away, and the young boy became a young man, and the young man became the king, and the king was, because he had heard many stories, was very wise and very thoughtful and compassionate. And but so his land prospered. But you'd think he would be happy, but no, he wasn't. Because you see, well, his mother was gone, his father was gone, and neither of them could tell stories like like he wanted to hear. And so he grew sadder and sadder and sadder, and until at last he was just laying in bed being sad. And a proclamation went out that a reward would be given to the one who could tell stories to the young king like his mother used to tell. And so the storytellers came from far and wide, and they lined up outside the palace, and they all went and told the story to the king, and the king would listen to those stories. And when they had finished, he would say, "That was a fine story, that was a good story," and then you would give him a small gold piece and say, "But that's not a story like my mother used to tell." And so the storytellers slowly disappeared until the lineup was very short, and then it was gone. And the king grew sadder and sadder because he could not hear stories like his mother used to tell. Now the old gardener saw this. The old gardener who was the companion of the king, and sometimes the king would wander through the garden, and when the old gardener saw that the king was sad, he thought to himself, "My granny used to tell a story or two, and perhaps one of those stories would make him happy." And so he went, when he had finished his work, and he went to the throne room, and he came to the king, and the king says, "What can I do for you, my old friend?" The king says, "Well, my granny used to tell me a story, and perhaps one of them would make you happy." "Oh," said the king, "well, okay then, tell me a story." and and if it's a good story like my mother tells, you will get this treasure of gold. And so the gardener began to tell a story. Well, it was one of those stories that was incredibly beautiful and had everything in it. There was dragons and lions, and there was kings and tortoises, all sorts of things. And the story went on and on and on and on and on and the gold gardener was only halfway through the story when suddenly he stopped because he by the sound of snoring, and he looked up, and there was the king sitting on his throne, his head off in that kind of awkward angle when you fall asleep in your chair. And he said, "Oh my God, oh my, the king is bored to death." And he began tiptoed very quietly away so that the king would not wake up. And then he ran back to his cottage, and he ran and ran and he hid underneath the bed, thinking, "When I will run away in the morning, they'll come looking for me, but I will be long gone." And so, sure enough, in the morning, the old gardener was still hiding underneath the bed when he heard, "Find the gardener! Where's the gardener? The king wants the old gardener." And the soldier came into the cottage, and they it wasn't too hard to find him. There was the bed trembling, with the poor old gardener shaking under like a leaf underneath the bed. And so they gently coaxed him out, and they brought him to the throne room, and there was the king sitting on his throne, looking more cheerful and bright-eyed and rosy-cheeked than he had for a long time. And when the king saw the gardener, he said, "My friend, why did you run away? Why did you not stay for your reward?" "Well, what do you mean, reward? What for?" said the old gardener. "A reward for telling a story." "But my story was long," said the gardener, "and it was boring, and it put you to sleep." "Yes," said the king, "it put me to sleep. And that is the way my mother used to tell me stories until I fell asleep. So, my friend, will you become my storyteller and tell me stories, because you and all the world are the only one who can tell stories like my mother used to tell?" And the old gardener said, "Yes, I can tell, I can do that. But I still want to be the gardener, for gardening was his first love, and the one that was his true first love." And so at the end of the day, when the gardener was finished the gardening and the king was setting down to rest, they would go down to the garden. The young king would sit by a rose bush, and the old gardener would tell stories until at last he heard the gentle sound of snoring, and then he would tiptoe away. And so the king um, became very happy and very contented for once, for he had found a man who could tell stories just like his mother. And that's the end of that story.
Ah, wonderful, Norman.
Now, oh, sorry, what? I don't have a clock I have here. So
No,
what time?
you're okay. But can I just need that story, the last one you told, which was
Yes.
another Duncan one. Thank you very much. And I went before the Storytelling Cafe existed. There was Cafe Clock, and it was the first time I'd been back to Marrakesh in '68. And I sat in the corner with Al Haj Ahmed, the old storyteller, and uh, we swapped stories, and that was the one I told him, and he told
Oh,
me the King of the Ants in return. So thank you for that.
well, thank you.
And you've got in answer to your question, rattle on for about another quarter of an hour. Then I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
tell stories for another quarter of an hour.
Okay then.
uh,
Um,
I,
yeah.
rattling on is fine, but as you mentioned in the last story. Um, It's been lovely, Norman. Carry on.
Okay. You know, stories can heal. Stories can harm, and we never know what the stories were. And just a second, I have to get some water. My
For those just tuning in, we're listening to Stories for Children as told by Norman Perrin in Toronto, Canada. That was supposed to be my commercial break to give him time to get water.
Yes, I'm back from the mountain.
And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
we resume Stories for Children as told by Norman Perrin in
Yeah.
Toronto.
No, I mean, I missed the happy birthday song at the beginning, so can I wish you a happy birthday, my love?
Thank you. Eh, I'm just trying to think of what would be a good story to tell. Okay, this is a story that is a favorite of mine. I like telling it, and I'm looking for an opportunity to tell it. And normally, I would be telling this story with a large group of children, adults, whomever, who would help with the story because it's a sing-along story or a joining in story. It's called The Little Yellow Bird. And then I'll finish with story The Fire on the Mountain, which is another favorite story of mine. Once upon a time, a long time ago, in the country of Thailand, there was a forest. And in the forest, there was animals and birds and of all kinds. And the people would hunt the animals for fur and for food. But one day there came a hunter to that forest who did not hunt for food, did not hunt for fur, for clothing. That hunter hunted for the fun of it. The hunter would take out his arrows and he'd shoot at the animals and he would shoot at the birds. He even shot at the bugs for target practice. In short, he terrorized the entire forest. Until one day when the hunter, that great powerful hunter, went in deeper and deeper into the forest that was silent. And he at last came to a clearing in the middle of the forest. And in the clearing he saw a great tree. And in the great tree there was a little yellow bird. And hunter saw the little yellow bird. The little yellow bird saw the hunter. And the little yellow bird looked at the hunter. Little yellow bird stared at the hunter. And the little yellow bird winked at the hunter and went, nya, 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 nya. Now that was the way the children insulted each other in Thailand, in the schoolyards, and other places. And the hunter was angry. How dare you make fun of me? He said to the little yellow bird. And the little yellow bird once again stared at the hunter, once again winked at the hunter, and the little yellow bird went, nya, 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 nya. The hunter was furious. He reached down and he pulled out an arrow. And he drew the arrow back in his bow, and he drew it further back, and he shot that little yellow bird right through the heart. But that's not the end of the little yellow bird, and it's not the end of the story. For the hunter went over to pick up the arrow, and as soon as he touched the arrow, the little yellow bird opened up both of its bright shining eyes, stared at the hunter, winked at the hunter, and went, nya, 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 nya. The hunter was furious and he turned red. And he said, you can't do that to me. And so he took the little yellow bird and he broke it up into 100 little pieces. And then he scattered those pieces around in a big circle. And then he said, that's the end of the little yellow bird. And he turned around to leave, but as soon as he turned around to leave, from every single piece of little yellow bird, he heard louder than ever. Nya, 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 nya. The hunter turned red and purple and yellow, and he said, "You can't do that to me." And so he dug a deep, 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 deep hole. And he put the little yellow bird into the hole, and he covered the hole with dirt. And then he said, "That's the end of the little yellow bird." But as soon as he said that, he heard from deep, deep, deep inside the earth, very faintly, but very, very clearly, he heard, "Yeah, yeah, 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 yeah." This hunter turned red and purple and yellow, and he dug up that little yellow bird. He chopped up the tree, and he made into a bonfire, and he took the little yellow bird and threw it onto the bonfire, and the bonfire went crackle, 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 high into the sky, up into the sky, into the clouds, and burnt down, crackle, 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 to ashes and silence. And the hunter listened, and he smiled. He said, "That's the end of that little yellow bird." And he turned to leave. And when he turned around, he stopped. And he turned around, and his eyes opened wide. For what did he see? He saw on every single twig of every single branch of every single tree, there was millions upon billions upon trillions of little yellow birds. And every single one of those little yellow birds stared at that hunter. Every single one of those little yellow birds winked at that hunter. And every single one of those little yellow birds, at the top of its voice, roared, "Nya, nya, 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 nya." And the hunter screamed. He took his bow and he snapped it over one knee. He took his arrow and he broke them over the other knee. And he ran 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 until he came to a mountain in the Himalayas. And there in the Himalayas, he built himself a little hut. And there he would sit by the hut and tell the people as they went by, "Be kind to the animals. Be kind to the birds, especially little yellow birds," for he'd become a vegetarian Buddhist. And so that became a place of peace for the animals. And so to this day, that hunter lives there, and the story lives there, and so do the birds. And so from this, the people say the proverb, "Remember the little yellow bird and the story of it, because you cannot break or burn or bury a good story."
Yay!
Yes.
That story
Louis, did you like that story? The last story I'm going to tell is again remembering who and what we are, where we come from, and what keeps us going. Now, this story is from the from North Africa, and it was a story that called "Fire on the Mountain." Now, "Fire on the Mountain" has many versions of it, but this is the way I tell it. Once upon a time, in the land of Ethiopia, the rains did not fall, and when the crops were dying and the people were hungry, the young men did what young men have done since the beginning of time. They went searching for work, for land, for where they could raise families. And so this young man went traveling until he came to a land where the rains did fall. The earth was good for growing things. And he went to work for a farmer. And he was a good, hard worker. And the farmer, well, he did not pay well, but he paid, at least he paid something. But one day the young man was injured by the hoe on his foot, and he injured himself. And I know what it's like when you are hurt working on a farm. You can't work very well, and you have to rest. And so, although the farmer let the young man stay on the farm, he had to wait until his wound had healed. And then other things happened, and the young man fell deeper and deeper into debt until one day the young man realized that he would end up working for that farmer and be in debt to that farmer for the rest of his life. Now, and he did not, and so he was ready to leave, but once again, but he came to the farmer and he said, "I must leave. I cannot stay here." And the farmer says, "Well, hey, you're a good worker. I don't want you to leave, but I'll make a bet with you. In fact, I make this bet with every young man who cannot pay his debts. What if you can stay all night on that mountain? See that mountain over there? I've often wondered if somebody could survive a night on that mountain with neither clothing nor fire and live. It's a puzzle that I've often wondered about. And I have said, I will give land and free the debts of those who owe me money if they could stay on that mountain and for all night with no fire and no food and no clothing. But I have to warn you, many have tried that. They went up the mountain only to be buried at the bottom of the mountain. Do you still want to try? The young man said, "Freedom is better than in servitude for the rest of my life. I will take up your bet. But I must go and see my friend in the town." And so the farmer says, "Then let me see you tonight." And so the young man went into the town. And there in the town was an old merchant who had retired to live there. And he was another Ethiopian like the young man had been. And they had shared stories from the old days and the old country. And when the merchant saw his friend, he said, What brings you today? It's a good thing to visit, but why are you coming to visit me?" And the young man told the story about the bet and that his debts. And the merchant listened to that. He knew the story, but when he'd finished hearing the story, and the young man said, "Tonight I shall go down to the mountain. And I will climb it, and tomorrow morning, one way or another, I will come down that mountain a free man." So the old merchant says, "Don't speak so quickly about dying," for he knew that the man had no hope. "But I can give something to you. I can't give you fire. I can't give you help, but I will go to a nearby mountain, and I will build a fire on that mountain. It'll be miles away. It will not give you heat. It will not give you warmth, but it will give you something that is as precious as fire. It will give you hope. So when I will go up the mountain with wood, I will build that fire, and you will climb the mountain and see in the darkness. It'll be cold, but you will see the flame of my fire. And remember that as long as you see that, there is somebody who knows you, loves you, and cares for you. And perhaps that will get you through the night." And the young man said thank you to the old merchant. And this time, rather than just despair, he now nursed the flame of hope. And he went down to the farmer, and who saw the eagerness of the young man. And he was surprised at him. He says, well, come follow me. And the farmer took the young man, and they went across the valley to the foot of the mountain, past 3 graves that had been dug there. And the young man did not look at the 3 graves. He just went to the foot of the mountain and climbed to the mountain. And the farmer said, now give me your robe. And the young man gave the robe to the farmer. And the farmer took it, slung it over his shoulder, and left the young man alone in the darkness as the stars came out. And so the wind began to blow, and it was cold. He saw the stars come out one by one, but they did not give warmth. And he grew colder and colder and colder, and he looked off into the distance where his friend, the merchant, had said he would build a fire, but all he saw was darkness. And would his friend keep his promise? And when suddenly he saw a flicker, not a star, but fire, distant, dim, no warmth, but his friend had kept the promise. And so all that night, that the young man feasted his eyes upon that fire on the mountain, and no matter how cold it got, no matter how much he suffered, he remembered the words of his friend. Remember, as long as you see that flame, as long as that fire, remember that there's somebody who knows you, loves you, and cares for you, and that will get you through the night. And so in the morning, when the farmer went up expecting to find yet another corpse, he found the young man more dead than alive, but alive. And so he threw the cloak over him and helped him stumbling down the mountain. And he kept his promise. He forgave the debts of the young man. He gave him land and the tools he needed to start his own farm. And so the young man settled in that land and prospered. And everybody who came into his door, none went away hungry, none went away thirsty. And may we each find such generosity and friendship in our own lives. And so that is the end of the storytelling. That is the story. But remember, as long as those words are held and remembered, this is a story that gives you hope. The fire of the mountain. And that's what storytelling has done for all of us and for me to this very day. Thank you.
Whoa. Thank you, Norman. Fantastic. What a wonderful evening. And more wonders to come. And once more, we wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you.
And may it get even better, because you've got quite a lot more of it to go than we have in terms of hours till midnight. What's coming up? Well, Friday at 7:30, not 6 o'clock. Make a note. 7:30. There's Zuhair and Amir, and a special guest. That's going to be amazing. That's going to be from Marrakesh, and then on Saturday at 1:30, Saturday the 20th, at 1:30, there's personal stories, and Rachel Smith is going to be hosting that one this Saturday. So our monthly personal stories. So bring your personal story, and that should be. And now Friday at 7:30, Babasi, are you going to be about?
So far, that's my plan.
Right, because I'm in Ireland, and I don't know what Maria's going to have me doing at 7:30. There, I might be telling. So, um, if you can be me, um, uh,
Well, I'm growing the beard for it.
yeah, yeah. Well, you look just like me, man.
Yeah,
And
we're twins.
yeah. So the no, so I'll try and get on, but if not, I'll hand it over to pass it across the Atlantic. Uh,
I
just
plan to be here next Friday.
throw it as a stone. Uh, we might have it bounce on every so before it gets there, because Edward Campbell Brathwaite, great Caribbean poet, in one poem says, God stood on the shores of Africa and threw a stone across the ocean, and it skimmed, and everywhere where it touched down, there was an island from the Caribbean. And that's what, and I love that image of this great arc of a stone coming and just bouncing, as we all did with children when we went to the sea, and everywhere was an island. Sorry, I'm rattling on, and it's Norman's night. So with that,
Well, I
I'm gonna
like
get.
hearing it.
I'm just procrastinating because I've got to go drive for another hour and a half before I reach my destination. Um,
Before we say goodnight, I want to remind Norman to read the chats, because people will have continued to compliment him and wish him happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
well, I haven't, but I'm
Yes,
full
you
of
have.
compliment.
You led us in song.
Oh yeah, all that. Yeah. Well, I wish you all many happy returns, and it was a wonderful evening. So thank you, Norman. Thank you, the cafe. Now I don't know who's there, whether it's Omar or Waleed, but whoever is flying the magic carpet. Is it Omar? I saw Omar earlier,
I
but
think it's Malik because Omar had to leave.
okay, so it's Waleed. Well, thank you once more for flying the flying carpet, and thank you everyone who turned up. And King Louis. So, was Your Majesty. Okay,
Hmm.
bye
Have a
everyone.
great time in Ireland, John. You will love it. If you've not been before, you will absolutely love it. But I'm sure you have been before.
But yeah, well, whenever I was in my youth, whenever I ran out of money, you could get a boat across from Stranraer to Stranraer
Love.
for about £2, and so if I couldn't afford to go across the channel, I used to hitch up to Scotland and get that £2 ferry. But
Hey, John, please tell
Hey.
Maria that I send my greetings and that I miss her. She's a marvelous person. She's going to keep you busy.
She's lovely.
yeah, no, I'm not. I'm
Same
terrified.
from us here. We were lucky to have her here in June for our conference
Yeah,
Yeah,
in Halifax.
yeah.
It was great.
she's a sweetheart.
Okay.
All right.
Hi,
See
guys.
you. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Have
And
a great
Rona,
evening,
I
Norman.
hope to
Take
see.
care.
Yeah, take care.
Happy birthday,
Hope-
Norman!
Keith and
Okay,
Lee
Lee.
happy birthday, Norman.
Thank
Mhm.
you. And but Rona, I hope to make it to Scotland more
How
later.
fun. I'll meet you there.
Bye, guys!
Okay, I'm trying to close off the.
Bye, Bobby. Say bye, Norman!
Take care, Lou. He's now on a movie
Cute little
screen.
baby boyfriends.
Alright, takers. I'll see you later, guys. Bye-bye!
Bye, Louis.
Bye!
Journey to everyone.
Bye.
Everyone
Take
stay
care.
blessed. Until the next time, to be continued. Evita! All right, C out.